I thought that we were going to be shot. That was my first reaction.
It's been almost 2 weeks, but the incident involving Calif Marshall is still fresh in her mind. She was part of a group of friends, 3 black and 1 white. They were leaving an Airbnb in Rialto, California, when a neighbor, thinking they were burglars, called police.
There's like 3 black people stealing stuff.
Stealing stuff?
Yeah, like breaking into the house and taking
No, we're taking our suitcases out of the house.
Right.
Their video of the incident went viral, in part because one woman in the group is the granddaughter of music legend Bob Marley.
When the officer jumped out of the car and started to point, hands up, hands up, and everybody's hands started to go up.
You're talking to Bob Marley's granddaughter?
Awesome.
She says that fact helped make sure the situation ended peacefully. But she says not everyone in America is so lucky. So they're speaking out about what happened and threatening the Rialto police with legal action.
We're very conscious that in these moments we have a platform and we are brave enough to use it to be a voice on behalf of those who did not live to tell their story.
But what Donisha Prendergast and her friends describe as traumatic, Rialto city officials say was well handled, releasing body cam video showing what they describe as a jovial encounter.
Our officers that were involved in this situation handled the call for service with dignity, respect, and the utmost professionalism.
Fife Marshall says her good nature in the police video was her way of coping with the indignity of being pulled over.
And it's one of the instances I'm going to laugh or I'm going to cry, and so I laughed.
They say their message is a serious one, that racial profiling must stop, and those who call police on black people in these situations need to be held accountable.
It's unfair for one person to have that amount of power over somebody else's life and destiny.
Prendergast says everyone needs to speak up.
Everybody loves my grandfather's music, but when it comes down to the actual fight and to the actual call to action that it sends to you, people don't want to stand up.
They say being surrounded by police just for doing everyday things should not be the price of being black in America. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.
Now, racial profiling has been in the news a lot lately.
I'm not taking your picture. This is Facebook Live.
Here's what we're going to do. That's fine.
Now, Steve mentioned an incident at Yale. On Tuesday, that's where a white person called campus police after she found a black woman asleep in a common area. She was a grad student there, but officers demanded to see her ID even after she unlocked her own dorm room to prove she wasn't someone who had just broken in. Video also surfaced this week of an officer pretty aggressively arresting a black man in North Carolina. According to witnesses, it started with an argument between that black man and a restaurant employee. Then came police and the takedown. The suspect was dressed up because he'd just been at a school prom.
Yeah, actually, we're just going to check your pockets real quick.
Almost 2 weeks ago, at a Colorado university, police questioned and searched 2 indigenous teenagers. Another parent had called the officers, complaining the 2 brothers were creepy and stood out. But they were just there for a tour. They were considering enrolling. In Alabama, about a week earlier, police were recorded throwing a black woman to the floor of a Waffle House restaurant. They grabbed her throat, threatened to break her arm, and in the scuffle, exposed her breast. In that case, police defended their action, saying their officers were in the right and that the woman had been drunk and disorderly.
There are 2 black guys sitting here meeting me?
And all of this comes after last month's Starbucks incident in Philadelphia, when police arrested 2 black men who'd been sitting at a table without making a purchase. They'd asked to use the bathroom, but were told it was for paying customers only. They were eventually released without charge. And today, Starbucks announced that all of its bathrooms will now be made available to anyone, whether or not they've bought anything.